Although it sometimes does not feel like it anymore in America, the country was set up under the idea that you could express yourself freely, that you could say the things that you believed. Sometimes you could even be tongue-in-cheek and say things that you didn't believe. But today, that right seems almost gone, and it's putting a frightening chill on so many out there who would tell what they believe if only they did not have to fear for their safety. Can you believe that prominent game developer Mark Kern, the man who made World of Warcraft, currently has a bounty on his head from people who have lost their ever-loving video game covering minds? Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. As always, a pleasure to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. And yes, we are a Disney-centric channel, perhaps the largest Disney news-centric channel in terms of views month per month. But that does not mean that we abdicate covering other topics when they arise to such a level as this. Today we are talking about the former head of the team that made World of Warcraft, a man who saved World of Warcraft in production several times, and Mark has also been a guest here on the channel. Today, he has a $50,000 bounty. Yes, a bounty, like in the Wild Wild West, on his head, not from the government, not for a marshal, no, not for bounty hunters, but rather coming from a Twitch streamer who is facing, as of the recording of this video, 0 repercussions. Grummz, a former guest on this show, would love to have him back again. That's not what he's known for, though, folks. Definitely not. He is known for being one of the biggest names in the gaming industry, and that's why they hate him, because he is simultaneously the big name in the room and the guy willing to tell the truth. Grummz is the person who was the lead on World of Warcraft, the original, saved it in production several times, and of course created a worldwide phenomenon and put Blizzard on the map that it is before they decided to tank the company by doing what we've seen other companies do. Now they hate Grummz because he's speaking out. He has assessed, like Elon Musk, that wokeism is an existential threat this time to the gaming industry. And given what's happened to Paramount, given what we've talked about with Disney, yes, I think it is. I think it's metastasizing all across the place, and anybody who wants their industry to be saved should stop this anti-meritocracy. Grummz calls for FBI to investigate Twitch streamer Grummz after she raises bounty on his head to $30,000. That's insanity. Grummz, a.k.a. Mark Kern, called for the FBI to investigate streamer Grummz after she raised a bounty. The fact there's a bounty at all is just insane. On his head to $30,000 for leading the campaign to free Stellar Blade from censorship. Kern launched his plan to free Stellar Blade from censorship at the end of last week in detail on X. The plan to get Stellar Blade censorship removed, contact Shift Up offices, send physical mail as that carries more weight in Asia, and then provided the location to send it to. And folks, you can see it there too. We're not hiding it. He also encouraged players to email shiftup@cs@shiftup.co.kr and for players to cancel their PlayStation Network subscriptions and let PlayStation know about it using the hashtag #FreeStellarBlade. So he created this giant movement. I think 50,000 now have signed the petition. And what did that mean? Well, Tone Man decided to put a bounty out, like it's the Wild Wild West, but ran by nerds. And then that was lifted up to 30,000 by Grummz, who apparently is an absolute reject of a person who needs to reassess literally everything, because normal, successful, well-rounded, and balanced people don't put bounties on other people's heads for their expression of thoughts and opinions on entertainment. That is insanity. That is lock you up insanity, and anybody putting bounties out there should be arrested, should be incarcerated, and should be tried, because that is utterly dangerous. Panel, am I wrong?
Well, there's that one guy with the flannel shirt and the mustache. I think he actually produces a lot of good bounty.
Oh, good grief.
How about you leave that to the experts, Jonas?
There's an absorption joke here, but
leave it to the pro.
Right. I'll leave it to the quicker picker-uppers.
Oh, Darn it, that's a great joke. I don't want to acknowledge it's a great joke because of the first one. But anyway, Andrew,
Redeemed himself.
Andrew, your thoughts on this one?
Look, we know these people are unhinged. They continually show us every now and then. We get a reminder of just how unhinged they are. These are the people that tell us, calm down. It's just a video game. It's just a fictional woman. Okay, well, all we're doing is saying, hey, like, you didn't need to change this. Why don't you just leave it as it was? Sony, stop futzing with Shift Up's property, with their work. And there's a lot of business stuff behind that, and a lot of contractual obligations and things. There's a lot more involved in that scenario than I think we're going to learn for a good another several years. However, those same people telling us gamers to chill are putting out bounties, like hits on people just calling out changes for a video game character. Like that's, do you guys realize how insane that is?
If we could just point out, like, let's talk about the idea that these people may be joking. And that will probably be their defense.
It's just jokes, bro. Yeah, that's always the response.
But if they're acknowledging here that there are some genuinely crazy people on the internet, as us with our modicum of notoriety here over on That Park Place.
We've dealt with some crazies before, Jonas.
And I do believe that the Rippaverse has dealt with some people that you're thankful that they show up at times and people are not there to have to interact with those
We're
people.
leading into the moment that Jonas finally goes on camera and gives out his home address. Finally.
Yes, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Just ask for Joe.
That's why you're so forgetful.
Just ask for Brandon.
You should not have crossed.
Yes. Lou, this is the first time I agree with you that Jonas is the one who has put us into danger with the platform. Bad, no, Jonas, bad.
What? Anyways, I'm in one of the outbuildings there. The thing that I'm trying to say here is there are so many people that can misinterpret statements like this, that it's so dangerous to go out. If you get someone who is desperate and doesn't have the best mental health, which maybe there's an ideology out here that we're dealing with on a regular basis that has a lot of mental health issues attached with it. I even if they're joking, this is not something that you joke about.
No,
what you joke about, Jonas, is when you say what you just said, but you say your address is in Berchtesgaden, then you're okay.
Well, look, if you want to play neo-Marxist games, when it comes to these people, just ask them the same stupid, neo-Marxist question, which is, why is this important to you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why this is so important to you, because they won't have an answer for it, just like they try to sabotage people with when they ask that question the other way. If you have a ready-made answer for, that kind of garbage, all the little tricksy questions that they try to use, well, are you against diversity? All those types of ridiculousness. Just be prepared for it.
Did I tell you the time somebody asked that question of me about something, Culture? I was upset because in the early days of Genie, the General Electric owned online thing, a la America Online or anything else, they were farming out their trivia games to an individual for a fee. And I found out that they were using the cards from the game Trivial Pursuit without paying anybody for it. And I complained. And one night I got a private message from the CEO of Genie, who I happen to know his online ID, so I knew who it was. And he said, I understand you have a problem with our trivia game. Would you like to talk about it? I thought, oh boy, somebody's paying attention. So I explained to him that as an author, as somebody who had work out there that was under copyright, and as somebody who was a director and a producer and everything else, I didn't think it was right for them to, violate that copyright. The next thing he asked me was, so why do you care? It's not your copyright. Wow. And I replied, well, in other words, so if I'm walking down the street and across the street, I see a woman being raped and she's your wife, not my wife, I should just keep walking? And there was this long pause, and then this conversation can serve no further useful purpose. And he ran away.
Yeah, because they when again, turning logic on the silliness is probably one of the better ways to go about it. But
yeah, that or ridicule, both.
It infuriates me to no end when people aren't prepared for that, because it's like, look, this is the playbook, and now their playbook's being turned against them, and they can't stand up to scrutiny. They will run away. The same thing is going to happen when all these students at these universities figure out that they may not be able to go back to any quality school, or the public will be made aware of who they are. So when they go to the job market, they won't be hired.
Or worse, for the university, these major donors are starting to say, "Nope, sorry, no more, not writing any more checks."
Bill Ackman, another time I get to bring up that billionaire's name. He's pulling his money out.
It's a really good point. Any other thoughts on grummz and this call for an FBI investigation?
Just that I think, we'll find out whether or not there's a single tier justice system or a 2-tier justice system. It's just another example of that.
And folks, we have come to the end yet again, a journey of explanation when it comes to entertainment, and we hope we have kept you indeed ahead of the culture curve. If you would like even spicier content than what we can deliver on this platform, consider joining the Patreon at www.patreon.com/WDW Pro. Well, for only $5 a month, you'll find out what it is we know, often before we can release it anywhere else to the public. Folks, like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.